Okay, folks, I am on the final scene. This is the courtroom's, well, not the final scene, but the big courtroom scene. This begins on page 40, where the rabbit says, hurry up, the trial's about to begin. Okay, so hurry, hurry, the trial is about to start. And the griffin says, come on, like he's just calling people. And the rabbit says, on to the trial, right? On to the trial. Hurry, hurry. It's about to begin. Follow me. This is just a bunch of, mumbo jumbo of saying the same thing over again. And the mock turtle says, better walk a little faster, right? So he's got that part. And Alice says, I enjoyed hearing your story, your history. And the mock turtle says, yours was pretty good too, right? Same. I liked yours too. Yours was pretty good too. Nice and brief, right? Short. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup, okay? And the rabbit says, silence in the court, silence, okay? Rabbit says, ready, your majesties. And you can sign king and queen, or you can just sign ready, depending how fast it is. Ready, your majesties, king and queen. And the queen says, where's the prisoner, right? The jail person. And the knave says, here, your majesty, right? You can raise your hand, whatever, just making sure that it's clear who you are. And the queen says, where's the jury? Where's the jury, right? So the people seated for judging. And the king says, and this is one of those puns, and we've talked about how we're going to do this. So king and rabbit, rabbit knows how this was working, but king, you're going to say herald. So this is like announcer, herald. So out with both fingers. Herald, we are ready. Or ready, do it with your R's, or just open hand. We are ready. The accusation, so this is my left hand, it's just a fist, and my right hand is bumping over it as a fist, and this means blame, right? The accusation, so you're doing it out away from you. The accusation, herald, announce it, okay? So the accusation, announce it. Herald, and when you say herald, do blame again. I know that's not what it means, but we're trying to create this pun in ASL. Herald, and then the rabbit's gonna go, don't blame me, my name's not Harold, okay? So we've got to play with the joke here because it's not going to work in sign language. So he's going to be like, don't blame me, that's going to be the word we copy is blame. Don't blame me, my name's not Harold, don't blame me. And you're going to be like, I know that. Announce the blame, okay? I know that. Just announce the blame, okay? And do it away from you again. And the rabbit says, I've got to blow my trumpet first. And so then there's this do, and you're going to have to, and it's not a big do. You're going to say, I need to blow my trumpet first. And then when they do it and it's real little, you're going to be like, do, like just show it, do, like it's show that there's no energy to the do. And so the rabbit reads, the queen of hearts, she made some tarts all on a summer day. The knave of hearts, he stole the tarts and took them quite away, right? Stole something like that. And the king's going to say, call the first witness, okay? Call, this is my left hand, my right hand touches it and pulls back. Call the first, the number one, witness. And this is a W, witness, and it's basically like a speaker, right? Witness. And the rabbit replies, call the first witness. So you just sign the same thing back. And Alice says, first witness, if you please. And the queen goes, who is she? Points at her. And the king says, a little girl, my dear, right? Or a little girl, however you want to do my dear. Sweetheart, sweetheart's probably better. A little girl, so girl, little, I feel like you've signed that a lot. A little girl, and then sweetheart, take your two fists kind of bumping toward each other, and it's like little heads that are nodding at each other. Sweetheart, right? Darling, dear one. And then the hatter says, first witness, reporting for duty. That's me. And the queen says, what's that? What's that you're bringing in here, right? What's that you've got there? And the hatter says, a cup of bread and butter and a piece of tea, your majesty. So it's just silly. And the queen's like, a likely story. Yeah, sure. And the rabbit says, state, so we're going to give that announce, state your name, your address, your occupation, and your complete history. And you can just do story. That's history. I would do story, your complete story. And the king says kindly, and try not to be nervous. Not nervous, like just show that you're shaking. Not nervous. or we'll have to execute you, right? Not nervous, or we'll execute you. Change your facial expressions. Very important, your facial expression. Oh, don't be nervous, you're very nice. And then you're changing your face to, oh, because we will kill you. We're going to execute you. And then says, take off your hat. So just take a hat, take it off, right? And the Hatter says, why? You want to buy it? I'm a hatter. I make hats, you know, or should or shouldn't. Okay, so that's that line. And then the Queen says, what do you mean by that, right? Mean? What's that mean, right? What do you mean by that? And the Hatter says, I make hats. And the Queen says, aha. And jury, of course, you're over there laughing, ha, 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 tittering away, whatever. And she stops you. And the Hatter says, I make hats to sell. So I can't take off my hat unless you want to buy it, okay? And then the King says, just give your evidence, right? Just, you're a witness, just give your evidence. So you're in touch like you're saying, you know, say this is your proof. Just give your evidence. And remember, shake means, okay, so this is means, this is a V, right? And it's gonna touch your left hand and then turn. Means, remember, so thumb to here, remember, nervous means guilty. And this is a G, but you're sort of turning it in a little bit, and it's like over your heart, like, oh, guilty. And then the Queen says, did you see the prisoner steal my tarts? A lot of signs, Queen, you can do it. And the Hatter says, who's the prisoner? And the Queen, and the Rabbit says, he is the Knave of Hearts. And the Queen says, well? And the Hatter says, no, Your Majesty, I did not see him steal your tarts. And the jury, and the Queen says, aha, like, aha. You can point to him here, aha, why not? And the Hatter says, I was having my tea. And the Queen says, he's absolutely right, you know. So just do right, 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 right. And the Queen says, she's liable to be a headless girl, right? Headless girl, as someone once remarked. And Alice says, I've never attended a trial before, but this one seems wrong, right? This doesn't seem like it should go as it should. You're sure you didn't see anyone steal the Queen's hearts? You're sure, you're sure you didn't see someone steal the tarts. And you can shorten that up, I'm sure. Hatter says, how could I? I'm always at a tea party. And Alice says, there. And the King says, where? So we've got to play around with this. And we talked about this last night, Alice, where it would make sense. How could I? I'm always at a tea party. There. Just do a that. There. Like yes or that. And then the King looks around and goes, where? And King, you're spinning. And when you spin, just sign where like this. This is your hand up and down, my right hand. And you're going side to side. You're not spinning it around. That would mean always. You're just going side to side, back and forth, left to right. Okay, there, where? I mean, he does, okay. I mean, he doesn't know anything. He's clueless. He doesn't know anything about the tarts. He's clueless about the tarts. And the Rabbit says, she's trying to confuse everything. Besides, why not you cleaning at home? You're supposed to be home doing the dishes, Mary Ann. Washing dishes, cleaning at home, Mary Ann. And you're going to go, I'm not Mary Ann. And the Queen says, aha, an imposter, a fake. If you're not Mary Ann, where is she? And Alice says, Mary Ann, I suppose, is at home doing the dishes, or maybe she's getting her hair cut. Now then, doesn't matter. The Hatter knows nothing, right? It's clueless, knows nothing about the stolen tarts, so he's quite innocent. Innocent right here, innocent. And free to go. Innocent and free to go. Thank you, the Hatter says. And Alice says, give my regards to the March Hare and the Dormouse, will you? Give my regards. Say hi to the dormouse. Dormouse, guys, I keep signing mouse this way. I guess that's not a thing down here. Everybody I'm talking to down here signs mouse here at your nose. Mouse. So mouse, mouse. So, say hi to the mouse, and the March hare. And remember, we're signing the mouse and dormouse are going to be the same sign because it never comes up. But the March hare as opposed to the white rabbit, right? March hare, white rabbit. And then the Hatter says, what about Elsie, Lacey, and Tilly? And so I'm going to be like, and the story, Elsie, Lacey, and Tilly. And you're just going to be like, yeah, them too. Yeah. And then say, just remove his hat and his head outside. And the Hatter says, run, run, run. You're going to have to catch me first, which you can't. And so then he's gone. And the king says, call the next, so just once you've got your hand up here, call the next witness. Call, so it's right here, and you're going to go another, right? So call another witness. And the rabbit says the same thing, call the next witness, and Alice says, next witness, please. Okay? And Alice says, state your, and the rabbit says state your, and the rabbit says, no, state your, taking over, name, your address. And the cook says something like, wow, 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 right? And the rabbit says, again, state your name, your address. And the cook is like, save your breath. Don't bother. And the rabbit says, I think maybe Queen needs to question this witness, right? Don't give a hoot, don't care who questions me, won't do any good. And the king says, now see here, my good women. Now see here, my good women. King, just do that. Pay attention. Forget the my good woman. It's okay. Now see here, my good women. And the cook says, not me, figs. Mary, I'm going to let you figure out how you want to handle that one. It makes no sense. So make how much ever sense you don't want to make. What were the tarts made of? You're a cook and you should know. Tarts, what kind? Here's that what kind again. Tarts, what kind? You're a cook, you should know, okay? And the cook says mostly pepper. And the king says, members of the jury consider your verdict. So the king's going to look at them and say, members of the jury, right? So this is judge seated for jury. Members of the jury consider your verdict. So decide, right? So just members of the jury decide, okay? Most of pepper, not yet. Oh, and the rabbit says not yet, not nearly yet. If you want to if you're tired of signing not yet, you could just be like, it's too early. But not yet, not nearly yet. And Alice says, if the tarts were stolen, what are they doing here? Because they're here. They're sitting right here, right? Why are they here? And the king says, stop confusing the jury. Don't even worry about the jury right there, king. Just be like, stop. So like you would think, stop. And then confusing is going to be, theoretically, you want to touch your head first, but if you don't, it's okay. And you're just jumble, right? Stop confusing the jury. And the queen says, we'd get a lot more work done around here if we chopped off everyone's head, and that's a fact. Could finish fast here if chopped off the heads of everyone, right? Or you can do everyone, like just ALL, all of them. And then Alice says, did you steal the tarts to the knave? And the knave says, I must have. I mean, I guess so. The poem says so. The knave of hearts, he stole the tarts. And Alice says, well, just because the poem says that you stole the tarts doesn't mean it's true, doesn't make it true. Poems sometimes false, right? I've heard poems that aren't quite the truth. Name one. And she says, all right, twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Now then, we all know that bats don't twinkle. And the rabbit says, they squeak. And we're struggling with that. So if anybody's got a better idea for this, but we're basically going to be like, no, they squeak. And just kind of make the a look of it, right? They squeak, because I don't know how you sign squeak. Like, how do you sign a sound that someone won't have heard? Yes, but they don't twinkle. And Queen says, I hate that poem. I hate that poem, especially when it's sung, which is fine. The point is, the poor knave, this means the poor knave didn't steal the tarts. Reason poem says so. You reorder that one if you want to. He doesn't twinkle either. It needs more pepper. And the rabbit says, one more witness, another witness. And the king says, call the last witness. And rabbit says, I call Alice. A lot of this is the same signs over and over again. Call, witness, witness, witness. And Alice says, here. And rabbit says, take the stand. And just stand, or actually, if there's the thing there, we can just be like, I guess she is really going to stand on that box. So it'd be like, stand on the box. And Alice says, all right. And the rabbit says, state your name, address, occupation, complete history. And Alice says, I think my name is Alice. And the queen says, aha. And, for aha, you can always be like, yes, that, like, aha, pointing at her or whatever. And Alice says, I used to live in a lovely white house. At least I did when I woke up this morning. And I have a dear little kitty named Dinah. And the king says to the jury, make a note of that, right? So notice that, right? You can make a note of that, or you can be like, write that down. Either one is fine. And Alice says, I suppose you might say my occupation is daydreaming. I do a great deal of that. And I think it would be great fun if we pass those tarts around and perhaps someone could make some nice tea. And the rabbit says she wants to destroy, right? So I think you know that sign, wants to destroy the evidence. And she says, I'm awfully hungry, right? I'm awfully hungry. Rabbit says, she's guilty. She practically admitted it. And Alice says, but I'm not on trial. Me not trial. I'm not on trial. Knave of Hearts is on trial. Let's have a tart. I'm sure they're delicious, or delicious, however you want to sign delicious. Of course they are. Are they cherry? Yes. Give the girl a tart. But your majesty, but queen. And she says, give her a tart or heads will roll. Give me one too. And Rabbit says, gives it to her and is like, here, Marianne, try one. And she says, thank you, little dormouse. And he says, I'm not a dormouse. And she goes, and I'm not Marianne. It's a little moment between them. And the rabbit says, nonsense, so silly. I agree. It's sheer nonsense. Wondrous nonsense. And the queen says, don't turn your nose up at nonsense, don't. So she's saying, we're gonna turn that back to the positive and get rid of the negative. Enjoy the nonsense, right? It's embracing the nonsense. Enjoy the nonsense, truly, right? And then the jury says, oh, don't turn your nose up. And the jury all says, we won't. So we're gonna have to keep that in the negative, queen, I'm sorry. So the queen says, don't ignore nonsense, don't. And jury, you're all gonna be like, don't, whatever, just don't. We won't. And Alice says, if you ignore nonsense here, and the queen says, you'll miss all the fun. And then Alice says, the fun will be done. And then queen says, before you get going, the race will be won. Or what can do one? Yeah, one's probably better. The race will be won. And nobody, nobody cares. Nobody wants a gloomy, doomy grouch complainer, right? And the jury says, ouch, 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 okay? And then the queen says, it's the new rule. Never turn your nose up at nonsense. Not until bats twinkle. The knave is free, and that's the rule too. It's a lot, you'll get it. The knave says, how nice. I've been guilty every other time. I'm always guilty. How nice. I'm always guilty, you know. And Alice says, you've been on trial before? This has happened before? And the queen says, only when, and Amy, we talked about this one, so I'm not going to sign this because I can't remember exactly what we decided, but you've got this. Only when she makes some tarts. Alice says, but in winter. And the knave says, winter? It's always summer here. It's all facial expression for changing those two things. It is? And they all say, everybody together is going to be like, yes, that's the rule. And rule is my left hand here, my right hand makes an R, touch, touch. Yes, that's the rule. And Alice says, okay, you've got this one. I know you've already interpreted that one. And we've got, again, Wonderland, Wonderland, nice. And then we've got the lines, isn't it incredible? We actually found a girl named Alice. Not necessary, of course, but a little added touch. And the cat said she seemed to enjoy everything. And the mouse says, so cooperative. Oh, so cooperative. And then so well, nice. Ugh, okay, so cooperative. I got to think about that one, mouse. I'll tell you in a minute. And then, and so well, nice. Alice says, we've got that part. Queen says, possibly. Rabbit says, like finding your nose in the dark. Everyone says together, easy, right? Easy. Left hand, right hand's touching it and coming up. Easy. And Alice says, all you have to do is pretend. And I would, for pretend here, I would be like the big imagination sign for pretend. And for all, everyone's going to be like, that's it. So the end, like we're going to do that's it. And Alice is just like a daydream. Remember when we do that's it, and we all turn around.